Hello, I am Yogini Sunita, and this is Meditation, Yoga, and Stuff podcast. I believe my dharma or my life's purpose is to share my understanding of meditation, yoga, and Ayurveda, holistic healing science of India. I make these amazing wisdoms accessible and adaptable for present times. So let's start. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the podcast. I'm very excited about today's guest. Her name is Rachel Nokes. Rachel is amazing yoga teacher, and she is also yoga therapist, Ayurvedic lifestyle consultant, professional counselor, and founder and owner of principal yoga teacher at Ray of Light. I love that name, Rachel. Ray of Light is just you. It's so true. So welcome, Rachel.
Thank you.
And today we're discussing about Rachel's journey to yoga. And I would love to know your basically journey to yoga and Ayurveda and why you feel connected to it. So please share with us, Rachel.
Thank you. Thanks. It's beautiful to sit with you today and, be with another inspirational, beautiful woman who's sharing her dharma. It's just a pleasure to always to chat to somebody who I know is so passionate. And
thank you.
So thank you for the invitation. Yeah, I could tell you a little bit about the name Ray of Light, because my family call me Ray, because I think when my sister I've got a younger sister, and when she was little, she couldn't say Rachel. So yeah, Ray is my kind of nickname. And so Ray of Light, I guess it's gentle kind of English translation of Shushumna. So this idea that the ray of light, that we all carry within us. So yeah, that's how that name came about. How did I come across yoga? Well, there's a few different times that it came in. I guess my parents did the hippie trail back in the 70s, where they hitchhiked from England. It was their honeymoon. They got married and they hitchhiked through Afghanistan and India, all the way to Australia, actually, because my mum's sister and brother were 10-pound poms. So they hitchhiked to India. So I grew up looking at all of these beautiful images of India. They've got these amazing black and white photos of the Taj Mahal. And so there was kind of a bit of, that India flavor came in that way. And my mum definitely practiced asana. And we used to have this beautiful picture up, still up in her kitchen, of her wearing these very gorgeous navy blue nylon shorts from the 70s, in a headstand. And she used to always share stories about how, she was very much in her body and very flexible. And so she was a natural kind of practitioner of asana. The very first kind of official class that I went to was with my best friend's mum. And it was an Iyengar class. And I was also a gymnast growing up. So even though I'm like 5'10", I loved gymnastics. I loved kind of playing with my body and feeling strong. And, so I guess, without calling it yoga, it's been part kind of there. And then I was working in London in the 90s at a fashion company, and a friend took me to a class. And that's probably when I first really kind of had a more formal introduction to yoga. And she took me to see some spiritual teachers as well. And we used to walk the streets of London, just talking. And she, I guess, opened my mind to kind of some different ideas around, how to view life in the world. My dear friend Larry Hutton, who is still teaching yoga. She teaches yoga as well in Liverpool in the UK. So that was in kind of, the late 90s that I was going to yoga regularly, just as a class, And I really just felt drawn to the teacher's energy, you know, that she just had this really grounded, I can't even remember that teacher's name, but she had this really beautiful grounded energy. And, you know, I'd been looking to find that energy inside myself, you know, for my whole life, using different things. You know, I grew up in the rave generation in England, so I did a lot of partying and was looking for that feeling of inner connection through, you know, through the ways that you do as a young person. You know, on the dance floor, I felt, you know, this huge connection, everybody dancing to the same rhythm. So then when I went to the yoga class, I felt like it was this, you know, it was a way without, you know, without having to go clubbing or take MDMA to find, you know, this place within myself that I've been searching for. Yeah. So that's kind of how it all started. And then it's, you know, how these things just kind of keep coming back at different times.
Beautiful. Yeah. I totally agree with you. I mean, a lot of time people go on the path of, you know, almost these addictions in search of something, and all we're looking for is basically that connection without that. And sometimes I also notice that when people get this connection, they get a little bit afraid of that, and so they try to numb that, you know. And in yoga wisdom, it is very well explained that you know, how our mind plays all these tricks. So we all, like, you know, kind of like have this kind of fascination towards connecting with ourselves, but sometimes when that true nature is there, then kind of like people try to take a step back. So awakening and not awakening state, you know, and try to pretend all that happens. So thank you for sharing that. And so now, how the yoga school Ray of Life came into life? Like, what was the inspiration behind that?
Well, you know, after having, you know, grown up in the UK, and then I backpacked to Australia in the late 90s, and fell in love with Australian, and, you know, kept my yoga journey going. After some time, I needed to go home. Like, a relationship broke down, and I needed to go back to the UK to kind of do a bit of healing. And then I decided to go to India as well. And so I spent 3.5 months in the south of India with a childhood friend, Becky, and we spent time at the Shivananda Ashram down in Nayadam. And you know, that was my first kind of taste of, you know, daily practice and eating and, you know, lectures and kind of expanding beyond the physical. And then when I came back to Australia and settled down with my now husband Mick, that's when I did my teacher training in Newtown. And after about a year in Newtown, we wanted to look around to move. We wanted to buy a house. And so Mick had some friends living in Bulli, and we saw this house. It was the first house that we saw. And Mick had always had this vision of there being ferns and a boardwalk. And I noticed that there was a downstairs area that was totally a huge room. And so I had my eyes on that to be a space for yoga.
Yeah.
And so that's really just how it came along. You know, it just was a natural kind of evolution. So lucky with his support, you know, the room has a beautiful energy, and there's, you know, the gardens, and we invite people into our home for our trainings, and he does the cooking. So I love that. Yeah, it's, you know, it's part of our life. It's part of a breathing part of what we do day in, day out.
I've been there, and I remember you inviting me to teach Sanskrit for your teacher training a few times, and it's such a beautiful space. Like, the view from that room, and I think the energy is just beautiful, very grounded yet very uplifting, like very and the connection with the nature from there is just amazing. And the food, oh my God. So it was a really good experience as a teacher as well, like, and the tribe you attract is just beautiful. It's your reflection. That's what I truly believe, that the tribe we attract is basically what we invite in our energy field. And you have such a beautiful community there. It's such a beautiful area as well. Like Bulai is very beautiful area, and I know that people come from Sydney to learn from you. So that's really amazing. That you have this amazing following. You also teach Ayurveda side of it. Would you like to share something like about your love of Ayurveda?
Yeah, well, it kind of happened. I hadn't heard of Ayurveda until I went and had an ashram experience. Yeah. And, eating 2 meals a day, eating with the hands, eating very sattvic food, very simple food, that I could really feel, the effect that had, both on my practice, on my mind, on my body, kind of, changed. So from there, I guess it made sense that they, go together. And, for me, yoga and Ayurveda really speak to, I guess, manifesting our full potential. Yeah. And I love that there's a whole science that really, that's what it's teaching us. Yeah. So yeah, they're kind of beautifully intertwined. And I teach them together with the Sanskrit as well. So that's been something that I've been also bringing in. So, that Patanjali actually wrote and documented teachings on yoga, Ayurveda, and Sanskrit. And so for me, they've become this trio, inseparable trio. Yoga to purify the mind, Ayurveda for the body, and Sanskrit for our communication. And so it's really, to me, makes sense that all three of these sciences go together in a beautiful combination.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how these wisdoms are so applicable and accessible even in modern life. It's just common sense. I truly believe that, we can take and adapt it to our modern life. And as a human being, sometimes we think that we have changed a lot. We are modern human beings, but if we look at Patanjali's, what are the obstacles for meditations, and we're still at the same level, so our mind is still creating these kind of like obstacles, and this is a lot coming from mind. And obviously our body is a slow mind, and so what we put in our body, it makes sense, like what I talks about food, the lifestyle, the whole, it just makes sense. And obviously Sanskrit is just it's just divine language. It's a language of the divine. Basically the sounds are so powerful that they change vibration in our system. So literally we cannot separate all this, and just like you, I also truly believe that they should go hand in hand. And so tell me a little bit about your teacher training or your programs. Like I would like to know, our listeners may be interested in something like that. So would you like to share some of your programs or what you offer, things? I know you do some retreats as well. I don't know with the pandemic situation, but I'm sure.
Yeah. In previous years, I've taken groups to India for the last kind of 8 years.
Yeah.
Because I take people, used to track that original trip that I did back in 2006.
You do it South India or?
Yeah, so mostly the South. I only went to North India 2 years ago.
Right.
So I actually only saw the Taj Mahal, even though I grew up with these pictures of the Taj Mahal a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was amazing. So for some reason, the South is just always called to me, and that's where my teacher is based in Chennai.
Yeah.
So my trainings kind of, yeah, it's like you come for a weekend and you come and immerse in, you know, in practice, in eating, in nature, in study. So each of the, you know, it's my foundational level training, which is open to anybody, even if you've done a training, you know. Often the parts that I share aren't the popular parts that maybe have been received on other trainings. So if you come for a weekend a month for a whole year, and you know, so it's like a yoga retreat every month. So it's really beautiful. And you know, because we have that time together, everybody gets to know each other very well. It's a very intimate experience. Yeah, so
very nice.
yeah.
I do the tours to north of India. Like I did just couple so far. And that too, basically some of my friends wanted to come with me. So when I said I'm going to go to India, they're like, oh, we want to come.
Exactly.
So yeah, the first tour was mainly from the, like, you know, traveling India. And so I'm from Maharashtra. And so from there upwards we went. I have not done South yet, but I've been to South many times, and South is beautiful as well. Last time I did in Rishikesh. So I did my meditation teacher training in Rishikesh, which was, I thought that, you know, like my first teacher training should be, you know,
yeah, how beautiful.
So that's where I did. But I love going to India with people and you know, really sharing the true wisdom of yoga, you know, and connecting with that. So we did dunk in Ganga, and it was beautiful. So that experience, and I think what India teaches, I don't know, like let me share with me your experience as well. What India teaches is really profound. Like, you know, yes, it is in your face, and it's really, you know. But that experience, there is no other country in the world which gives that experience. Do you believe that? Do you think so?
Absolutely. I think, you know, the moment you land, you know, you're in the hands of the mother. And she's such a beautiful teacher. And she's so humbling. And, you know, it deconstructs a lot of our, you know, our way that we are, you know, so time bound here. And so, you know, regimented, you know, when you step into India, you just have to, you're in her hands, and she will tell you how long it's going to take to get from there to there. Not the program timetable. So a lot of surrender.
That's the only thing you can do in India. When the mother gives us lessons in, sometimes she's a strict mother, sometimes she's kind, sometimes she's like holding you dearly at heart and just, you know, allow you to let go. So every time when I go back to India, I feel the same. Like, you know, I feel like I've been held by many hands, and really I get that hug. And also so much I learn about myself through that. So how was your experience about that? Have you uncovered any pearls of wisdom through that journey?
Oh, I'm sure many. Just, yeah, I think it's that ability to let go, you know, and for me, it's the ability to hold space when people aren't necessarily having a good time. So, because as we know, our reactions to things, you know, are all different. And as the space holder during a retreat, it's, you know, it's really stretched my capacity to be okay when people aren't okay, you know, in terms of maybe they're having a hard time, or maybe, you know, they're struggling with the letting go, there's a wanting to kind of grasp. And so you really have to let go of other people's expectations, you know. So that for me, as a guide, has been a great lesson, that I'm not responsible for anybody's experience, that I can just do my best, and then I can, you know, let go. So I think that was a big growing up, You know, it's like, because we always want to please, we want people to have a good time. But, you know, sometimes it's not having a good time that is the great transformer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but that can be a very uncomfortable space when you are leading something, right?
Yeah, holding space is the biggest, I think, thing I think we have to do when we take the groups to different places like this.
Yeah.
And I have taken like this group to India last time, and that was a lot of unfolding for a lot of people, because it's such a massive journey. But at the same time, a lot of people came so close to each other, and it's almost like that connection is so strong, you know. So now that they have carried that here as well. So that's the
beauty. Lifelong friends are created on journeys like that, aren't they? Yeah,
exactly. It's a life transforming journey.
Totally.
And,
each time I go, I shed another layer.
Yes. And I think the teacher training also does that, you know. The teacher training, yoga teacher training is also, I think, massively life-changing experience. And the friends we make in those kind of like situations, it's really goes deep. And I know that your community in Bulai, and not just Bulai, but people who follow you, feel the same. Like you have like this created this beautiful community feeling. And so would you like to talk a little bit about your community, you know, like how you created this? Because I wanted to talk about on this because a lot of yoga teachers struggle with the business side. Like they think that, you know, they had to put on yoga teacher's hat when they're teaching, and they had to put on the business side. And you've been doing this successfully, I would say, for many years. So would you like to share some tips on those? Like how to feel comfortable while almost like marketing, you know, kind of. And so to manage that balance. Would you like to share that?
Well, I've gone through different phases, and I've certainly had a business coach at various times.
Yeah.
But I've, I guess, come to let that go.
Yeah.
And for me, I have, certainly for the first, you know, few years of teaching, I also work as a couple and family therapist. So I've always had another job in the sideline.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's been really important. And I have a very supportive husband. So, you know, that yoga hasn't had to be my primary income. That I've been able to really just do what feels is coming through versus with an outcome in, you know, a goal to meet. Of course, I've wrestled with that over the years. And last couple of years, after a 5-year break, I went back to work 2 days a week as a family therapist again. So for me, I feel like it's, you know, it's always what's coming through, what wants to be expressed, versus feeling like I have to create something. So I've played with different things, and I guess, you know, this ray of light has gone through a few different incarnations over the years. You know, even the colors on the walls have changed. You know, I used to have an amazing pink fireplace, and and now it's kind of white, and, you know, red rugs, a little bit more serious and mature. But it's like just feeling into it, you know, and going with what really is, you know, being called. So I'm not really offering classes these days. I used to offer classes in terms, you know. I've never had a studio model because it's my home as well. So, you know, it's been working on, you know, 8-week, 10-week terms when I was teaching yoga classes, workshops. And because of my counseling background, I do a lot of one-to-one work in that way. So I don't know if that answers your question.
It did. I mean, I truly believe that being authentic doesn't matter if it is social media or, you know, and just speaking from heart. And I think that's what you're doing, you know. So
I think authenticity is important. And to deconstruct this pedestal. You know, we're all a work in progress.
Yes.
We're all just human beings. I just say to people that want to learn to teach yoga, all you're doing is teaching people to link their body, their breath, and their mind.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm not giving them anything. I'm not doing any of this. This is, you practice the practice and something will happen. It's not coming from me, or I'm not giving you anything that you don't already have.
Yeah.
So I feel like if we can just let ourselves off this hook that somehow we need to be something else in order to teach yoga, or just be you and do your practice and do what has worked, as Krishnamacharya would say, give from your heart, and give what you have inside of you, but not how it applies to you, how it applies to the other.
Yeah.
So it's, if you've chewed things through and you've really integrated them, that's when we can teach from the heart and from that authentic space. You just let it go.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, I mean, that's my thing also. Like, we can only teach what we know.
Yeah.
So be authentic, to teach from heart, and listen. Listening is also very important. Like, listen with just noticing what's happening in people. Like, if they are huffing and puffing, if you're doing strong practices, pull back. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, you're there for them and not other way around. So just, make them the hero of the practice, and everything will be fine. And I truly believe that that's how I think yogis taught as well. Like, they tuned into their disciples' energy and then gave the practices. And so it's really amazing how yoga works in the modern scenario on that line also. Like, just be present and offer from heart. Like, that's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Very well said.
And like you said, look, see who's in front of you and tune into that. Let go of the script and the class plan and attune to who's there.
Yeah. I never made class plan. I'm like, I must be the bad yoga teacher. I don't know.
Me neither. Of course, in the beginning, I carried my journal around with all my, clinging to it. But yeah.
But I think that's I think that's the way to go. Like, trust that you have this wisdom. Let it flow. Like, remove our ego from that, and then see the magic happen. So thank you so much, Rachel. I really appreciate you joining us today. And I'm sure the listeners, I got a lot of wisdom from you. Thank you so much for joining. And I will put your website information on the show notes so that they know where to find you. Thank you again. I'm just
thank you
so many times because I'm like so happy that you're here.
Well, thanks for reaching out.
Thank you.
Lovely to be with you.
Same here. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate that you're taking this time out of your day. Don't forget to subscribe. Take care. Bye for now.